Hello everyone and welcome back to Expletives Included for our Vlogmas series, where we're very professional and we don't drink before we record, especially not delicious Hobgoblin Gold. Not the official drink of Expletives Included. I'm not sure, are we kind of running out of things to say in these vlogs? We've been making one kind of every 2 days. I'm very glad that I've been doing it with Keir, rather than kind of both doing it separately, because I think if I had to do one of these every day, then not only would I not have time, but I would have run out of things to say in twice the speed, so half the time. I wouldn't have had much to say, especially not at this point. It's day 17 now, so we've still got like 3 or 4 to upload before we're through. And I kind of decided I'm still going to put off that video that the vlog I said I would do on friendship and friends. I'm going to talk about my previous girlfriend, the only one I've had, just because I think that it's kind of a fun story in its own way. Of course, kind of going into, like, I suppose why it ended, or like why it was a bad idea, why it had to end. I think I remember Keir, like, discussing things with Keir, because I've been single for a while, and that whole kind of, thirsty aspect, where it's like, I really need a girlfriend, or I should have a girlfriend. It's like, why don't I have a girlfriend? All of these crazy guys who are less handsome, less intelligent, less funny than me, they're all more confident, I think is probably the main thing. It's like, I want a girlfriend, and I'm fairly sure it's Keir who just kind of like would kind of say, it's like, no, you just like the idea of a girlfriend. You're just going to find someone, and it's not going to be that you like them, but you like the idea of them, which is like a dangerous thing. And it's like, not a dangerous thing, I'm not sure if it's like a thing that a lot of people do. Well, essentially that's what happened. I kind of found someone, and I liked the idea of having a girlfriend more than I think I liked the actual girlfriend, which is again why kind of nothing came of it. It wasn't going anywhere, and it just kind of had to end. So that's not the fun aspect of the story. The fun bit is kind of pertaining to kind of breaking up and the aftermath. Breaking up, usually not the fun part of the relationship. But I don't know, kind of hindsight is 20/20, looking at the relationship, and just it wasn't like it wasn't great, and looking back on it, yes, the most fun thing was the breakup, because that's like the bit that I can look back on and laugh. A big part of this relationship was, or it kind of was, Final Fantasy XIV. Trust me to have a relationship that's based on Final Fantasy. And then you kind of might look at that and think, what? That sounds like that would be the perfect girl to have a relationship with. For me, or whatever. But, I don't know, I guess it just kind of comes back to that point. It's like, the idea of it is better than the reality. And that kind of clouds the vision, and it also kind of was quite controlling on her part. So she had Final Fantasy XIV for a while before I did, but I kind of bought it so I could just kind of go online, I could play with her, I could spend time together, because we lived not like a long distance apart, but it was a distance, it was a barrier. So this was like a way that we could spend more time together. But it didn't kind of work out that way, but I still kind of really got into the game, and we did kind of game every so often. But she kind of didn't want... So I joined her guild, she had a guild, and she didn't want anyone in the guild to kind of out-level her or out-progress her in the story. I can't remember if I did or not before or after we... After we broke up, I definitely did. I can't remember if I did that before. I can't remember if that was like a point of contention. But yeah, I got pretty good at it. I wasn't supposed to out-level her, so I kind of got to a certain level in like this job, and then you kind of switch to a different job. That's kind of how Final Fantasy worked. That was like a really fun element of it, I thought, that you could have one character and they could be all jobs. and you could just go around and change and just, you know, you could do whatever you wanted. You weren't kind of locked into one archetype. You could play, you had one character and you could play either like the tank, you could play the DPS, you could play the healer, I guess was better. So you didn't have to have like several accounts or like several characters to explore all of these different routes. And like all of the money, all of the items, all the experience, and like some cross-class skills you kind of all had. So it was like really good to have this kind of jack of all trades. So that didn't really bother me, because if I ever got like too far or kind of too close to her, then I would just swap classes, do different quests, do different things. Towards the end of the relationship, I guess it did kind of get a bit frustrating, because I had kind of basically caught up on everything, and there was nothing I could do in the game without kind of upsetting her a bit. Again, that was like, at the time I was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just play a different game. But now, like looking back, that is kind of really crazy. But as I said, we were in the same guild, and I didn't really kind of use skill, I didn't use money, so I kind of amassed quite a lot. And all the time I was just like, I've got like a couple of thousand, I don't need it, I'll put it in the guild chest, I'll put it in like the community fund, I'll just kind of deposit it, and I'm not going to use it, I can take it out if I need it, it's just there. And so kind of like leveling up, kind of going to level like 40 in one thing, and then doing it again and again and again, and completing all these quests, and not kind of spending money in the marketplace or on items, because anything that you buy, you're just going to find something to replace it, like in a dungeon. Dungeons is where you get the best loot, so why spend money buying things that are going to be obsolete? Not even in a couple of levels, just maybe at the same level. Just go through a dungeon, and then boom, the item that you spent like thousands of gil on is now useless. Not useless, but well, yeah, useless. You have no use for it. You might as well just chuck it away or try and sell it, which is a bit of a rigmarole itself. And you also had like the gathering and crafting, which I kind of did as well, because that was kind of like something that I think I could just kind of grind out levels on, and did. And it was just, I quite enjoyed that as well. It was quite fun, just like the way that worked. So, and then you kind of create all these things, and then you sell them, and then that was more gil, and I was just kind of making gil, not having any use for it. Maybe buying raw materials now and then, but why buy raw materials when you can go out, gather your own, and level up your skills, your classes? So I was raking it in, until I kind of realised that there is a point where you do kind of really need skill for, what is it? I think it's like ultimate weapons, your ultimate weapon. You kind of have to, there's like a very rare loot drop in dungeons, and it's like certain dungeons give different loot drops, and it's rare that you find them. And then you need the materia as well, which are really hard to find, because just like the way that worked. So, and you needed those to complete quests to get the ultimate weapons, which were like really good, and they were kind of, you needed them, and then you kind of upgraded them, and you upgraded them again. But you need like the ultimate weapon as a base, and they really were the best weapons in the game. And so people sold these in the marketplace for quite a large sum of gil. But by this point, I basically had no gil. I put it all in the community chest. You might be able to see where this is going. It's around this time that I broke up with her. I kind of like said, you know, this isn't really going anywhere. It's just, I don't think it's working out. And I think she agreed, or at least she didn't object. And we just kind of decided that we would, you know, stay together in the guild, we'd keep talking, we'd be friends, but we just kind of agreed that as a relationship it wouldn't work. Or maybe I agreed that, I'm not sure. It was like almost a year ago now, I think. Maybe more. I can't remember. And so, but she still kind of like had these restrictions, so I thought, I can't really be in this guild anymore. have no kind of obligation now to follow these crazy demands. So I'm just going to leave the guild and find a new one, kind of do all this new stuff. I kind of got into PvP after that, and that's kind of like what forced me away from Final Fantasy XIV. The fact that I would kind of spend like a whole day on it, and then kind of like feel shitty because depression, I had just wasted a day on a video game. And that's kind of like turned me off of MMOs quite a lot. So I haven't really played any since then. But I did really enjoy PvP, and if I could go back and just do the PvP, I possibly would. But the problem was, I think I was even in like a good server for PvP, but it would still take like up to an hour to get into PvP, and that's kind of like what I was doing. It was just kind of PvP. You couldn't really start anything. Pardon. You couldn't really start anything because you didn't. Because at any moment you could have gotten called in for the PvP, but you could spend like 4 hours waiting for PvP and maybe get like three to five games in, which lasted like less than a minute sometimes. 5 minutes tops, and you're just thinking like, right, okay, so I've basically experienced 20 minutes of kind of good fun gameplay after wasting 4 hours of my time on this. So that's kind of like what got me out of Final Fantasy XIV, just that I kind of, PvP I thought was like the best element, but the kind of, I don't know, maybe the matching, like the wait to kind of get into a group with other players online, just way too long, and it just made it, like, it made the game was kind of like a waste of time, but you had to waste time while you were wasting time before you could waste time, and that's just too many layers. It kind of, and it did kind of like really start to kind of affect my mood and affect my kind of, so I had to stop. But as I was saying, I left my ex-girlfriend's guild. I left the guild, and I kind of thought, right, I got no guild. Apart from the guild that I put in the community chest. How much did I put in there? It must have been at least like 500,000. Like 500,000. I can't take 500,000. That's like half of the chest. There was only like 1 million in there. But yeah, I'm sure it was like, maybe it was only 400,000. I can't remember. Okay, so if I take out like just 200,000, then I don't know, I guess that's like half of what I've put in. So I'm still left like a lot of money. I've still donated a lot. But this is kind of like just, I've got no gil. I need like a kickstart. I need, I'm going it alone. I need like this cash in case I need to buy anything. There are going to be things that I need gil for. Okay, I'll just write a note explaining that I'm sure that I've put in like at least this much, probably more. So I'm going to take just like half of that, just because, I want to kickstart. I need gil going into the world. And so I did. There were no locks on kind of guild members taking out money from the community chest. And I kind of did, like I got to like the level where I did kind of need gil. And I was lucky that I just didn't spend it on anything else. So I could buy these things that I needed to because I had the money. And then I kind of didn't hear anything. I think I had left the guild, but if I kind of like, I hadn't kind of received any texts, any messages. I think I might have actually tried getting in contact with her, but there was no reply. And then kind of a mutual friend basically said, it's like, yeah, she's not talking to you. It's like, what? It's like, you stole money from the community chest. You stole her money. It's like, no, that was my money. I put that in there. It's like, yeah, but you put it. It was the guild's money. You put it in there. It's like you donated it. It belonged to the guild. It's like, I didn't take out like all of the money that I put in there. It's like, no, you've messed up. That wasn't cool. It's like that's we're upset. You shouldn't have done that. It's like, but this is money that I had no money. None at all. All of my money I put into... You've been taking money out, like, all the time you take money out. And it's like, I've just been putting it in and in and in. It was a large sum. It's like, yeah, but, you know, we don't play as much as you do. It's going to take us a long time to get up to that level of money again. It's like, yeah, but you're still in a better position. It's like, no, I messed up taking money out of that chest. I have not... I think I was like blocked on Facebook. I was unfollowed on Tumblr because like I had a Tumblr back then. I didn't post anything to it, but I had one. Communication stopped. Yeah, communication stopped. And even like this mutual friend, I kind of don't talk to at all anymore either. I was a massive arsehole. I stole imaginary money that I gave to her. I am just the biggest pile of arse. I am the scum that sticks to the scum on your boot. And I find that hilarious. I take imaginary money in a game that I kind of gave to her in the first place, and then just fucking nothing. Just complete media blocks, just kind of, yeah, removed, ignored. I haven't spoken to her since. This is like over a year, because we were like friends before. We kind of, like I said, we kind of agreed that, you know, we could still be friends, because, yeah, that's the story. I don't know, maybe there should have been like a bigger crescendo, but it just seems so weird to me that just, it could be such a massive thing. Again, that was just like another disconnect between us, I guess. Yeah, I stole imaginary money, and that was a crime more grievous than breaking up with someone. That's the thing that kind of, that was crossing the line. That was what put it. I mean, I broke up with her. I mean, I know that upset her, and I think it kind of like upset our friend as well. Just like, why would I do this? Why would I do that? But you know, that we could have got past. But taking Gil in a Final Fantasy game, you monster.